So the place we're going to start on this Plasmacyte is with the black details, and the colour we're going to be using is Terradon Turquoise. Now that might not make any sense, I'm sure it doesn't, but it will when we do it. So we're using the Terradon Turquoise to effectively establish our pre-shade so that the black, when it goes on, is a lot kind of darker and smoother and creamier, but also so that we establish our first highlight on the model. And we just want to pick out all of the bits that we want to be a smooth black. There is a different type of black, which I like to refer to as the industrial black, which we're going to do slightly different to this. But first up, it's the Terradon Turquoise. And next up, with that Terradon Turquoise applied, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this to all the silver details, but also the industrial black details. So silver details include areas like the top carapace up here, like that, and also this cable here. But the industrial black details include the inner ring of the Plasmacyte's body. Just trying to avoid that big central node, but it doesn't matter if we do get any paint on there, because we can always neaten that up for when we need to paint it green. And also we want to use this Iron Warriors. The other industrial black areas include areas like these vents on his butt, and also the little ball joints here on the legs. Just want to go around picking out all these details like this, and then we'll come back. There, next up, with all that Iron Warriors applied, we're now going to add some Black Templar. And we're going to do this in two different ways. So we're going to add the Black Templar all over the industrial black parts. So places like this cable, which we want to be black. Like that. Make sure that we just get it all over. Like this. Whereas on the Terradon Turquoise areas, what we want to do is we want to add the Black Templar all over the flat panel, but we want to just leave that edge shining through with the Terradon Turquoise, like this. So this does most of the work for us in terms of highlighting the model. And once that's dry, what we're going to do is we're going to use a small amount of Fenrisian Grey, and this is just to pick out the sharpest bits of that smooth black. So effectively, anywhere that you did the Terradon Turquoise over, you just want to kind of hit the corners and the sharpest edges, just to reinforce that highlight a little bit. Like this. And next up, we want to use some iron hand steel. And this is just to highlight all of those industrial black bits. So like those ball joints and the edges on this cable up here. Like that. And with that iron hand steel highlight applied, what we're going to do is we're going to colour in all of the bronze areas using some thinned down Runelord Brass. And we want to do this all over the legs, his face, and his little probe thing up here, as well as on the little scarab bodies on the ruined piece. Because we might as well, right? Might as well all do it at once. He's only a little guy after all. So you want to get good even coverage of this all over. Just like this. And once that Runelord Brass is applied, what we want to do is we want to take some Sycorax Bronze, and we just want to apply this to basically the outward facing panels and anywhere where the light would catch. So you just kind of want to avoid where the battle damage is. So we just get like a slightly different color when we do the final shade. So adding the Sycorax Bronze like this. I'm going to do this all over these bronze details. Really, this is just a taste. Do as much or as little of this as you like. Whereas I like to do it because it just really makes that Runelord Brass just pop in terms of how shiny it can be. Like when you compare that side now to that side. Looks a little bit lifeless on this side. So you just want to add a little bit of that Sycorax Bronze. And similarly to what we just did with the Sycorax Bronze, we're going to use some iron hand steel on the top carapace. Like this, just to brighten up the wide open flat spaces. Like this. We just want to leave any recesses as well as a kind of Iron Warriors or Warriors-y kind of internal in that concave on the carapace. Just covering over everywhere where it's flat with the iron hand steel. Like that. Similarly again on the other side. You can just see how it just brightens up that Iron Warriors, but isn't like overpowering. And once all that's dry, what we're going to do is we're going to create our famous Necron shade. And this is going to be 6 parts medium, contrast medium. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 parts medium, 1 part Aggaros Dunes. We mix that in with the medium. We give the brush a quick wash so as not to contaminate our Wyldwood, which is of course the final part. So take 1 part of Wyldwood, we mix that in to all of that as well. And then we use this mix all over the bronze details, like this. Making sure we get a good coverage of it all over. Like that. Actually a little bit too much here, so I'm just going to redistribute it with our brush a little bit. And then similarly on the top carapace, what we want to do is we want to fill in the recesses, so like the vents, like this. We also want to fill in the battle damage, like that. And then we want to do a line going along the inside, like that. Then we give our brush a quick wash. Take a small amount on the brush and then just start dabbing it down from where we've added that deep line, like this. We don't want to get this mix all over, we just want to kind of leave some of that Iron Warrior shining through like it is there. Like that, to give it that kind of dirty finished look, like that. So we want to go across all the bronze and the other part of the carapace like this, and then we'll come back. And with that shading applied, it's now time to do some highlights. And so the first color we're going to use is some Canoptek Alloy. And this is for highlighting all of that bronze like this. We just want to pick out all of the raised details. like this. Like that, just to give it some real shine. And with that Canoptek Alloy applied, we've now got some lovely looking brass details. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use just a very quickly use a little bit of Basilicanum Grey, and this is just to shade in the bits that are silver. So this is basically the vents on his butt down here and around here, but also along the metal girder down here on the base and the legs on the scarabs. As I said, we're doing this now because we want to save a bit of time, don't we? Normally I would leave the base to the end, but you know. We could all do with a bit of a change every now and then, right? So we're just using this Basilicanum Grey all over like this. Not using loads at a time. If we do accidentally put too much on, we'll just use our brush to move it around until it's at the right kind of consistency that we want it to be. And like that. And similarly on the scarab legs. Like that. And once that Basilicanum Grey is dry, we want to use some iron hand steel once again, just to highlight all those areas back up a little bit. So just around the edges on the vents on his butt, the hard edges up here on the carapace, as well as around any of the battle damage that you can see across the model, like that. And with that iron hand steel applied, we now want to take some thinned down Corax White. We want to apply this all over all of the areas that we want to be glowing green. So it's areas like this big orb here in the middle, and the little orb here, as well as his eye. And there's a couple of little diodes on the scarabs. And once all that Corax White is dry, we're going to use some Tesseract Glow to add that green to all of those orbs. Now what I recommend with the Tesseract Glow is that you make contact with the model and kind of just don't take your brush off the model until you're done applying it to the orb. And that way you just get a nice smooth finish. Like that. And with that Tesseract Glow applied, you can see he's very nearly finished. The colour what we're going to use next is Ork Flesh, and this is just for those two cables. And with those cables done, all that remains to do is finish in the base. The colour I'm going to be using just for the stonework, to keep it in the theme of the rest of the Necrons that we've painted so far, is Gryph Grey. Like this. But you can do this any colour to match the scheme that you're trying to recreate, or the one that you're doing, or if you've got any of your basing to fit the rest of your army. That's the same, definitely the same for the next part, which is the wide open bit with no detail on. Now of course, I've just rambled at you there. I recommend that you finish the base in the same way as the rest of your army. Or if you'd like to see how I do mine, you can check out the How to Paint Necron Warriors tutorial, or the Illuminor Xerath tutorial, available here on YouTube. And with the base complete, this adorable little fella is now complete. And, well, I say this a lot, but I think an army is only as good as its minions, and the Plasmacyte is no different to that. And This is a really easy scheme to do, and it just looks so effective, particularly when you place it in amongst the destroyers, in amongst an enormous phalanx of Necron warriors. Wonderful. Who could ask for more? If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support me further like these legends on the screen, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or go to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, do all that good stuff, and if you want to be kept up to date, make sure to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.